On a dark, windy night, a fisherman and his wife went to bed after a long and hard day's work on the boats. She was pregnant and needed the rest. Even with the strong winds outside, both fell asleep peacefully. But the fisherman woke up in the middle of the night to get a bowl of water. Then he heard the strange sound of an unknown bird nearby. Tick, 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 tick. Then he heard the scratching on the roof. At first he thought maybe it's the wind brushing tree branches on the hut. But the eerie feeling he got just wouldn't go away. He went back to the room where he and his wife slept, and then he saw it. A long black tube attached to his wife's belly. It was fleshy and sucking something in her. The fisherman, at first in shock, now understood what is happening. He grabbed a bottle of fresh salt from his dining table and sprinkled it on the black tube. Immediately he heard the ear-piercing screech of a creature as it flew in disarray. The fisherman looked out the window to see the horror of a monster with the upper torso of a woman, its lower torso absent. Giant bat-like wings attached to its long clawed arms, and a black tube-like tongue with a sharpened stinger at its end. As the creature flew off into the night, the sound of the strange bird seems to slowly become more faint. Tick, tick, tick. The creature in this story is an aswang known as the Manananggal. It is one of the Philippines' most feared and common monsters told in stories and superstition, and also a challenge rating 9 medium shape changer of the D&D 5e compatible book, The Islands of Sina-Una. In the light of day, a Manananggal may seem like an ordinary person, but as the sun sets, they begin their ritual, and their true form is revealed. As they mutter their incantation, the Manananggal spreads tanggal oil upon their body, a fetid ointment made of chicken dung, coconut oil, and human viscera. With this, they transform into a hideous monster. Although the most common Manananggals are depicted as women, there are a few male counterparts. But their most common trait is that of their transformation. They sever themselves in half, sprout bat-like wings, and grow long, sharp claws and fangs. Their hair is wild, and eyes are filled with hunger. After they shift, the Manananggal leaves behind their harmless lower body before taking flight to hunt. They tend to prey on victims who are sound asleep. They use their sharp tongue to strike and suck out the victim's innards. Or worse, a pregnant woman's unborn infant. They are one of the most vilest of aswang, and said to be the most dangerous. Said to be unkillable in their monstrous form, there are only 2 known ways to defeat a Manananggal. First is to rub salt and spices on the stump of a Manananggal's lower half. The second is to ensure the Manananggal doesn't return to its lower half. But either way is difficult, for a Manananggal is cunning and hides their lower half well. If they rejoin to their lower half, then they can easily hide and walk amongst the villagers once again. Although an interesting bit of lore that the book does not cover is that the Manananggals in their human form are said to be extremely beautiful and have some sway amongst their neighbors. Now let's see their stats in the core rulebook. Manananggals are classified in the Aswang shape changers, So although the aswang closely resemble undead ghouls, vampires, or demonic fiends, they are not. At most, the aswangs are cursed humanoids transformed by dark magic. The Manananggals have an AC of 16, HP at 82, with 30 feet walking speed and 80 feet flying speed in their Manananggal forms. That means these creatures are so much more faster than your average adventurer who can use 60 feet of dash as an action. At best, you may want to restrain a Manananggal. If not, it could be near to impossible to run away from it. Take note of its stats. They are not only strong but also intelligent creatures. They can easily fool villagers and stay hidden for years, and still continue to hunt each night without getting caught. They are also immune to non-magical piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing damage. They have a good 60 feet dark vision and 14 passive perception. The aswang also uses Abyssal as their go-to language in communicating with each other, but they do know common so they can blend into villages. As an aswang, the Manananggal shares this common weakness, the aswang's bane. Weapons coated in salt can get through their natural resistance. You may wonder, why salt? Actually, it is unclear to the origin of this belief, but even way back then, salt has been used for many ritualistic offerings. It is said to weaken supernatural forces. In fact, this kind of animistic belief has somewhat stayed with current superstitions. Some houses in the Philippines or restaurants would have piles of salt by the corner to ward off bad energies or evil entities. It has become another staple for Philippine superstition. So, if your adventurers find themselves in a bind, I hope they brought salt with them. Manananggals also have access to the flyby skill and can easily move away from melee-type adventurers. Manananggals can regenerate 5 HP per round unless they are struck with an aswang's bane weapon, and they have the shape-changer ability to transform them into humanoid from monster and vice versa. But if you notice the description of the skill, they do specify that the lower half of a Manananggal has HP and AC. So if you manage to destroy their lower half, that would mean a death sentence for the Manananggal. They can't stay in their monstrous form for too long and will wither and die if they can't rejoin their lower half. But a fight with a Manananggal is no easy matter. The Manananggal has 3 attacks that it can make with its proboscis tongue and its wing slice. Although, what you should be careful about is the attack known as ingest entrails. It not only grapples the victim, it also causes 8d6 necrotic damage. This damage can seep through into a victim's maximum hit points while healing the Manananggal at the same time. So unless the victim escapes, the Manananggal will keep on absorbing until you reach 0 HP. And that is no death save, that's just death right there. Lastly, this recharge skill is only afforded to the most strongest of aswangs. It is called Kulam. The Manananggal speaks forbidden words of power that affects a creature with 100 less HP who hears them. It gives exhaustion to your player's characters, which can't be removed unless with a remove curse spell. The dangerous thing about this skill is that the Manananggal can weaken the players in their most vulnerable state. The skill is not easy to spot as the curse is transmitted by sound, and all the Manananggal will have to do is visit the players at some parts in the day to speak the Kulam. With the right roll, the Manananggal may just outright get rid of the players, without even showing her face. The Manananggal can be a very fun villain to work with. They can hide, deceive, and easily get close to unsuspecting adventurers who have no idea what they are dealing with. Plus, they are basically the personification of a deadly horror movie monster. Just remember to use the lore and environment to get you that uneasy feeling when using the Manananggal. That is all for this video today, and perhaps I may do more info on other fun new monsters in Sina-Una for your D&D sessions in the future. Have a nice day, and keep rolling those dice. If you like my content, please like my video.